he's going nuts, like absolutely crazy.
Please, ghost, please don't eat my ass.
Yeah.
That's like a famous one from him.
Yeah.
Why he's got his feet behind his ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let the healing begin.
That's a good way to start an episode right there. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Geek Battalion Vets podcast. We're two vets and a cop who talk about all things geek as a way to cope with the untold horrors that make up the human experience. That includes comics, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. My name is Duncan, and I'm joined by my friends...
I'm B.
And I'm Jimmy. Wait.
I'm Jimmy, and I'm a cunt.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Scooter, you dog.
So, that being said, you're going to have to listen to the last episode for any context on that. But we're going to get right into the sit rep. B, you want to tell me what the sit rep is?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing where we like try to remember what we've done for the last week or however long it's been. And we talk about, what we're watching, what we're reading, what we're... I don't know.
That's right. Do it again, but sound more excited.
that
I'm just
was
kidding.
my
We can move
excited
on.
voice.
Yeah, basically, we get into what we've been into, what the viewers should be maybe getting into, what's coming out. We try not to be a news podcast, but sometimes we get into the news.
Because sometimes we got that knowledge to drop on you.
Yeah. I wouldn't ever take our word for what's coming out, but we try to get there sometimes.
Yeah. So who's got the hot hand?
I can go first.
All right.
There was one thing that I saw just after we recorded last time, and it's unfortunate, but we'll get it out of the way. It was the passing of Arlene Sorkin. She is the voice actress who voiced Harley Quinn in her original appearances in Batman the Animated Series, and is pretty much responsible for her being the iconic character that was adapted into comics and has become this cultural icon that DC puts everywhere. So very sad day. She was 67. So rest in peace to her. And then the only thing I really have this week, I watched the Netflix movie They Cloned Tyrone.
Oh,
you guys heard of this?
Yeah. Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, John Boyega, Tiana
yeah.
Paris, which is Monica Rambeau in the Marvels and everything. I really liked it. It's probably up there as one of the better Netflix movies. It doesn't have that like weird Netflix sheen, and it doesn't have the thing that all Netflix movies do where they just get really bad at the end. Mm-hmm. So basically the premise is that white people essentially are controlling black communities through products and monitoring, including like cloning and genetic manipulation to make black people more white. And that sounds incredibly like political and like, man, this is like touchy subject stuff. And it kind of is, but it's done in such a great way that you're just like really enjoy the whole shtick and the whole movie.
Is it like a comedy?
Yes, it's a comedy. Okay. There's a little bit of maybe action, drama stuff going on in there, but it's mostly, I would call it mostly a comedy.
Nice.
Everyone's good. John Boyega is outstanding.
Interesting.
I think he's good, man. I like him
great.
a lot.
He plays at least 3 different characters.
Oh, wow.
In it. And if you're thinking like the Clumps from the Eddie Murphy days, like no, it's good. Like he's actually playing these different characters in a good way. Jamie Foxx is great. Tiana Paris is fantastic. Like I said, everybody's good in it. It is well worth a watch, I would say, on Netflix. It's everybody has Netflix these days, so you might as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
And it sets up maybe a sequel in the end, or maybe something else to go on to. So well worth a watch. I would recommend it.
Nice.
That's all I got, though. So I haven't had much else to get done with Newborn. So
right. Well, after the movie that we watched and reviewed last time, I felt I needed a bit of a palate cleanser. So
Okay.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't Flash bad.
No, nothing is the Flash bad. That's why it's called the Flash bad. But I was looking at my list of things that I've been wanting to watch, and since it doesn't look good for new content anytime soon, I figure I better start digging into that bad boy. And just happened to pop up was The Nice Guys. I really, really loved that. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
It's fun. Ryan Gosling's hilarious in it. And Russell Crowe like beats the shit out of him through the whole movie. And he's just this drunk loser. And Ryan Gosling's daughter is I think she's the Betty Brant character from the Spider-Man Homecoming, or she's in all three of them: Homecoming, No Way Home, and Far From Home.
Yeah,
she's the one that falls in love with Ned when they're in Europe.
Right. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's the daughter, and she's really good in it too. So
this is definitely one that's been on my list too. I've just never
highly recommend it. It is great.
Yeah, cool.
I was disappointed in myself that I hadn't watched it sooner because it was that good. So,
and it's a series or a movie?
No, it's a movie. It's on Netflix.
Is it like a 70s, 80s detective
it's
story?
It's the 70s. So like Ryan Gosling is a private detective, and Russell Crowe's just a knockaround guy.
Like a fixer.
People pay him to go knock people's teeth out, and like teeths. Wow.
So it's my dream job.
Yeah, it is. It's everything you ever wanted to be. But
yeah, what's that Denzel movie?
The Equalizer.
The Equalizer.
That they keep making movies on.
The Threequalizer.
Number 3 coming out soon. Yeah.
But I did have a thought re-listening to one of our old podcasts where we were talking about Congress admitting there's aliens, and the thought occurred to me like,
okay, yeah,
can we get like a 1 episode special of the X-Files where the FBI apologizes to Mulder and like, your sister's been in this closet for like 30 years. I'm so sorry about that. But
yeah. So aliens are real. Yeah. We're sorry.
Yeah.
Here's more money for your project.
Fault. He fucking did it. But anyways, nah. So I don't get hate mail like some of us on the pod. But for whatever reason, I made it very clear that I don't want to talk about Secret Invasion anymore. But everybody keeps coming up to me and wanting to talk about Secret Invasion. So I'm gonna put a pin in it now. We're gonna be done with it after this.
Okay.
But
Please
things.
Send your Secret Invasion questions.
Don't.
Addressed to be.
Dude, we're gonna talk about this forever. I don't want to do it.
I'll put his actual email address in the episode description.
That's fucked.
Phone number.
2 things that I think are quick fixes that would have really helped the series. Number 1,
no baby dick arms.
yeah.
So 3 fixes.
So 3 things.
Yeah.
That'd be number 1.
Yeah.
But like one of the big problems we all had with it was Nick Fury's reason for not calling the Avengers. Like, why didn't you call the Avengers this whole time?
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a while, and I think a really good reason that would have worked, because it would cost them way too much to put any of the Avengers, any of them. I mean, we got John Cheadle. He's probably one of the cheaper ones that they could get. I guess Kobe Smulders.
Jesus Christ,
Smulders?
How do you drink some water, Smulders? No more beer.
You don't tell me what to do.
John Cheadle? I mean, Don
I
Cheadle.
said Don Cheadle.
No, you definitely said John.
Kobe
Smulders.
Press your little button over there.
God, it's hard being the sober one.
Yeah.
Kobe Smulders and
Yes,
Don
that
Cheadle.
one. Thank you. That was time well spent. Yeah, so they got off cheap with what we did get in the show, but I think if Nick Fury would have just came out at the beginning and said the Avengers are compromised, 1 or more of them is a Skrull.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good reason not to call him, but I could go further and say, going public and saying one of them is a Skrull would like turn the public against the Avengers. So to avoid another Sokovia kind of incident, or the Sokovia Accords or whatever you want to call it, that would he has to play it close to the vest because he doesn't know who he can trust. That makes more sense to me than what we got. It's like, I'm mad. And
I think even if they just sort of said it's too dangerous to expose the Avengers, if they haven't already been exposed to the Skrulls, it's too dangerous to expose them to them now, because if they start, impersonating them, all bets are off. Like, I think it could have been something as simple as that.
Sure.
Just at least any sort of explanation, because audiences need that. I mean,
I agree. But
there's literally a thing in production where they explain something, and it's called "This is for Timmy," and it's a literal thing.
Yeah.
Like a really good example is in Armageddon, where Bruce Willis is talking to the commander. And the commander says, "What's your contingency?" Or no, Bruce Willis says, "What's your contingency plan?" And this very learned guy, he's an astronaut, and he asks, "A contingency plan?" Like, he doesn't know what the fuck a contingency plan is. And then Bruce Willis explains what a contingency plan is. That's
just for the audience.
It's for Timmy, for the audience.
Yeah.
So anytime you see something like that, now that I've said it, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what
is
they
that
call
a
it.
South Park reference?
Timmy!
And I don't know. This was back from when I went to school for this. This was back like 2005. So it was already a thing back then. So
I hope now in the textbook says, we can't call it what we used to call it.
But I agree.
They
They
need
should have
some
done
sort of exposition
a for
there.
Timmy
Right.
moment there. And
So my other point was that, and I know you and I kind of don't agree on this, but the Rhodey reveal, I hated it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And I think if they would have gone like Winter Soldier, Alexander Pierce route of like him and his secretary or, shuffling papers, or they dropped a glass and he gets a paper cut or accidentally cuts his hand and he starts bleeding purple.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got to shoot you in the face now.
Sure.
I think that would have been so much better than what they just walk out of the shower. Get out
I
of
didn't
here.
hate, like you said, I didn't hate the shower reveal or whatever. Like, I just think it was stupid because they already revealed it the last episode.
Yeah,
When they
where
had
he's
him on the
talking
phone call.
Right.
And it was
Yeah.
like, everyone knows that that's Don Cheadle's voice.
Yeah.
Like, we're not fucking stupid.
or John Cheadle, whichever.
Yeah, or
one
John,
is
or
one of
his
those
twin
guys.
brother John Cheadle.
But yeah, so
Yeah. So, are we done with that, please?
yeah, we're done with that.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on.
The only other thing I did was I finished all the side missions for Jedi Survivor.
Nice.
I liked the game. I did enjoy it, but I don't know that that's one I'm gonna play again. Like, in hindsight, I don't know if it was worth the PlayStation 5.
how did
Spider-Man, I think, will be. So I'm okay with it. But
right.
that's just, I don't know.
I can't really argue with you there because I didn't buy a PS5 for it. I played it on
There
PC.
you go.
So
you
I
bought it for
I
Spider-Man.
bought it for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
But I
So
still
there you
loved Survivor.
But that's my thought.
how did you like the fight against Ogdo Bogdo the second? Did you complete that one?
I don't
big
know.
frog.
Maybe I haven't. Maybe
big
I haven't
frog.
that one. Where's
Yeah.
that one at?
He's in the
Yeah.
middle of the. There's
The
like a
battle droid
battle
stronghold?
droid like stronghold.
the
yeah.
Luker Hulk.
No. There's like basically like a tent city.
Oh, I know what
of-
you're talking about. Yeah,
Of
it's the Bedlam
B1s
Raiders
and-
place.
Yes,
that
the
has all
Raiders.
yeah.
at
Yeah.
headquarters.
No, I don't think I have.
Because I died like 67 times.
Yeah.
Really?
Trying to fight it
In
It's-
story mode?
Well, I didn't try it in story mode until
Oh.
I died 67 times.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I did it in just a regular campaign mode, and eventually what I did was I picked up all the battle droids and I just dropped them in and let them take majority of it, and then I grabbed a couple of the Bedlam Raiders, threw them down there, and then I went in and cleaned them up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Smarter,
maybe because
smarter, not harder.
Maybe because I played on story mode, I just went in there and stabbed him in the
sliced
face
him
and then
up.
went about my business. And I didn't
probably, which is
remember, but
honestly a better way to have done it. Like I was so
Yeah.
frustrated.
sounds
but-
awful.
Oh, it was
But-
that fight. Then there was the big Wookiee looking dudes, like the big
Wampa, you
Wampa,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. There was the one that was like hiding hidden.
It's
and
not
like,
a wampa in the game. I can't remember what they call it, but it's a freaking wampa. It's just
I
brown.
think they call it a
No,
wampa,
they call it something else. It's like a forest something.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was
But-
2 of them that you had to fight, and one was like just a normal one, and then one was like the
Those in particular are pretty, like, I remember
Yeah.
them wrecking me a couple of times.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
I wanted to throw my controller so many
Yeah.
times, but
That's
I stuck
expensive.
it out and I got it, and I was so relieved when it was
There you
done.
go.
But yeah,
All right.
good
That's
stuff.
all I got. Jimmy?
Okay, Jimmy, you got something?
Yeah. So in movie news, let's see. Gran Turismo. No surprise, and the movie is doing terribly.
Yeah. don't care.
As of the latest reports, the movie is only grossed $8.5 million domestic.
Yeah, I have no desire
Yeah,
to see that at all.
That is a terrible showing.
That's real bad.
That's really bad.
Probably better than The Flash, though.
But it has done 22.6 million internationally, for just a little over 30 some odd million globally.
That feels like a movie that'll be more popular outside the U.S., I think, anyway.
Probably.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the basic premise is this kid that's really good at the video game Gran Turismo gets a shot at racing cars in real life, and apparently does decently. But that just seems like all sorts of bad, and it's based on a true story, which is just
I have
crazy.
a question, though.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody that plays racing games? You do?
Awkward.
No.
Yeah.
You had to be that
Apparently-
guy.
Yeah,
Apparently Jimmy
I play racing. games.
Honestly, you're
Yeah.
the only one
With
I know.
all his talk about F1, you didn't figure that?
Well,
Is it called F1?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
you're giving me way too much credit of
And you know
thinking
what,
things through,
yeah.
but
Gran Turismo, I loved Gran Turismo because it was it's what I played back in the day when it was on. It was Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation 1, but I since graduated to a better console with the Xbox and played Forza.
I don't care.
Yeah, Forza Motorsport, and I loved Forza Motorsport. Really, really enjoyed the first one. Played that one all the way through. Got unlocked all the cars. Played in all the races. Then I got to Forza Motorsport 3. Pretty much did the same thing, but
all right.
yeah.
I guess I'm wrong.
The only time I liked playing racing games was at an arcade when you sat in the chair.
You're in
yeah,
the
yeah,
car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like racing sims nowadays are like a huge
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah, I don't care.
like Stone Mountain 64, he's got a big racing simulator.
Yeah.
Jay's 2 Cents, a big YouTuber, he's got like a full on
Do
racing
you have that?
sim. I do not. I have a
See,
controller.
Not that cool then. Yeah.
Yeah. You see what I have. Like
yeah.
I said in a previous episode, I spend my money on guitars and
That's
other
fair.
things.
Yeah.
I figured there was a market for it because they keep making those
Yeah,
games.
they keep
But
coming out.
you're the only person I know that plays racing games. So.
Yeah, because they're pretty badass. There's nothing like taking a shitty Civic and dumping
Yeah, that sounds
30K into
amazing.
it and making it an 8-second car.
Yeah.
That's
Too
pretty.
fast.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
furious.
I'm glad you could break away from hanging out at the Sonic tonight to come join us to record this podcast. So
I mean, I do love like really unlocking a car's potential because that's part of like the appeal is like, oh, let's see what this car can do. Let's see what that car can do.
You really like going like 1 mile an hour over speed bumps? And your lowered Honda Civic with
Yes.
the canted wheels.
fucking NOS leak in the back. Officer Jack me off. 7. You were going 7 miles an hour.
What else
Now,
you got?
to be fair though, I am more of a domestics fan though. So like like
Bud Light.
Trans Ams and Corvettes and domestic supercars. Although it is pretty cool to get into a Ferrari and go crazy on it. But yeah, Gran Turismo, no surprise, is doing terribly. 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. However,
Is that better than Smoking Aces?
no, Smoking Aces was 75%.
Well,
I thought it was 40.
Smoking Aces critical, like the critics, was 31%.
Oh yeah.
And I gave him too much credit.
Yeah.
But like crowds are like cherry picking them. Like I've seen like some interviews with somebody that saw it. and they're like, "Oh yeah, this movie is great. Yeah, A plus, A plus." So like all the reviews are like from the crowd, and they're saying like A plus. Like I don't buy it. Yeah, it looks like a pretty shitty movie.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. I love David Harbour, but
yeah, even with Dave Harbour, I don't think it's enough to save the movie.
I'd rather see him as Santa Claus in Violent Night. But
yeah, that's that is pretty much all that I have.
That's it. Let's do it.
Should we move into the formation?
Private Winger.
Fall in.
You fall out in that street, I'm gonna kick your ass right out this fucking...
God, he just pumps me up every time I hear it, man.
Gunny Highway's a motivator.
Yeah, love it. All right, B, what is our topic for this week?
Well, we here at the Geek Battalion Vets are here for you, our listeners, and we've talked about it. There is a writer strike going on. There is a actor strike going on, and you may be like most people, and I don't really give a shit. That's fine, but know this: there will be nothing to entertain you for the foreseeable future.
There will be things that come out. They will likely be written by studio executives and AI, and it will be garbage.
Yeah, really bad. Really, really bad. So, probably time to dust off that list of shit you've been putting off for a long, long time. So, like me, you find the nice guys, and we got Smoking Aces, and we got, all kinds of stuff. So we're going to do a big 3 tonight. We're going to talk about what we call the sleeper series. So all the shows that you've kind of had on the back burner, been a little wishy-washy on, it's time to fire those bad boys up. So each of us have 3 recommendations for you of stuff that you've slept on that you need to jump aboard. So, Duncan,
you want me to kick it off?
You want to kick off?
I can kick it off.
What's your number 3? So the order here is we'll give 3. Number 1 we save for the end.
Yeah.
So your least recommendable of the 3 is...
Yeah, I had a hard time kind of ranking these, so it doesn't really matter for mine.
Yeah, me neither.
Also, nothing matters. But in the immortal words of my co-host B here,
John Cheadle.
Yeah, John Cheadle. You are not your khakis. Watch some fucking cartoons.
There you go.
Yeah. If you listen to his QRF,
callback, baby.
My first one is a animated series called Young Justice that started in 2010. It started on the Cartoon Network. It originally went for 2 seasons, I believe, and then it was canceled because the toys didn't sell very well. And they had a deal with Mattel that Mattel would fund the production of the show if the toys sold a certain amount, yada, yada, yada.
That's
and
fair.
like many cartoons, the toys didn't sell, and thus the show ended. And that was that. But then the fans basically started a petition, started a movement, started complaining, started contacting their senators, and said, hey, we want this shit back. Please make more of Young Justice. And unbelievably, they got what they wanted, and I believe they've made 2 more seasons since then, and there is more on the way. So if you want to watch this, it's on Max. So you can do it essentially for free for whatever you're already paying if you're doing Max, or it's free for me legitimately because B's paying for it. But this show is about the younger members of the DC superhero community. So Young Justice is the name of a superhero series that was similar to, I will say, like Teen Titans, and then it focused on the teen sidekick heroes. And it came out in I think the late 90s, early 2000s. So we had Robin, we had Superboy, we had Impulse, who is a speedster like the Flash. We had Arrowette, who was a character like Green Arrow. Miss Martian, who's like Martian Manhunter. We had a bunch of them, kind of a rotating roster, and the show takes those characters along with some additional ones and just tells a really solid, great superhero story that you get kind of an adventure of the week, but you also get an overarching plot and, big bad that they are combating each season. And you get to see through the 4 seasons, this isn't something you get to see a lot in superhero media, is you get to see these characters grow. And like for instance, the first season we see Dick Grayson as Robin, and he's like 13, 14 maybe, and he's like an annoying little shit, and he, like, in the best possible way, he's a very fun character on the show, but we get to see him grow into Nightwing, and we get to see him grow into an actual member of the Justice League. And so you get to see that the Justice League uses the team, as they're called, or the Young Justice members, as kind of their covert Black Ops team that they send into situations where the public-facing Justice League couldn't respond because it would essentially be an act of war, or it would cause major problems with their contract with like the United Nations or whatever else. Like I said, if you're looking for a really well-told superhero story and you want also a lot of episodes of something to watch, you want to binge something, you want 4 seasons of a show, like
Nice.
This is it. It's a lot of episodes. It's a lot of fantastic voice acting and great designs and art for the animation. Like, they have some really cool character designs for the different members of the team that are very classic but still like modern and updated, and they all get kind of like stealth suits too, so you get to see alternate costumes and things like that. It's really great. So I would suggest Young Justice as one of my sleeper series. Oh, and I guess part of the sleeper series or shows that have been slept on is the fact that not a lot of people really know about this or have watched it. This isn't like Batman the Animated Series in terms of cartoons where it's like has this huge, massive following, but it obviously was popular enough that the fans were able to bring it back from oblivion and put it back on the map. So I think
you said it's on Max?
Yes, it's on Max. All 4 seasons are on Max now. And like I said, I believe there's a 5th one coming. So this is a good one. This is probably one of my favorite animated superhero shows.
Watch some fucking cartoons.
Exactly.
I like it. You want to go, Jimmy?
Yeah. Speaking of cartoons, I'm going to go with the regular show, or take the out, the regular show.
All right.
Okay.
I've heard of this, but I've never watched it.
It's a show that was on Cartoon Network. Basically, it follows a raccoon and a blue jay that go by Mordecai and Rigby on their shenanigans through a local park. But it's just a really fun show. It is funny. There's lots of music references. There's just lots of just like references in general. Through lots of great things. It's a really good show for an older millennial like myself. Tons of references. They do Back to the Future. They do Indiana Jones. Lots of 80 references. I'm sure there's a Goonies reference in there as well. Just lots of really good stuff. I mean, Mark Hamill even voices Skips, who is a big Yeti. The episode, they're like 20 minutes an episode. They got I think 7 or 8 seasons. Just really good stuff. So one of my favorite shows, just because of all the music references and everything. Like, pretty much every episode, there's going to be some kind of a music tie-in, and the creator actually did all the music himself. So it's all original music. Then he did a follow-on series on Max, and I can't remember the name of the series off the top of my head, but that one's good as well. But yeah, so my bottom of my top 3 is regular show,
and that's on Max. You said
no, it is on Max, but primarily it's on Hulu.
Oh, so it's on both. Okay,
Yeah, it's on both.
all right, cool.
You're up.
I'm up. So in honor of
Not like an erection thing, but
I thought it was
You are
poking
I'm
through my
sorry.
gi again. Sorry. So
I'm about to ball this.
It was that gunny highway again. That's what got
every
you.
time
Yeah.
gets me every time. No, in honor of my favorite time of year, that being football season, I'm going to throw out a series. I think it was on Spike TV back in the
that's a
day, like
callback.
2010.
Yeah.
But little show called Blue Mountain State.
Okay.
And there is
Does this have anything to do with like Rocky Mountain oysters?
no, not at all.
Different. Definitely
Blue
different.
Mountain State is, how can I sum this up for you? It's basically American Pie meets another great Jason Bateman film, Necessary Roughness. So it's about a college football team and all their crazy drunken exploits. But
Is this one with Alan Richson?
it is who plays
Jack Reacher
Thad
now?
Castle, the middle linebacker, my favorite character on the show. He's absolutely hilarious. There is a bunch of other people scattered through here. Alan Richardson's probably the headliner. Ed Marinero, who was the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy back in the day, but he turned an actor after he got out of sports, but he plays the head coach, and he's actually really good in it. But his ex-wife, who shows up in like the second season, I think, or maybe the first one, I don't remember, but is Denise Richards.
Oh.
And she's actually really funny in it. Like the show's hilarious. It's as raunchy as all get out. There's 3 seasons of it, and 1 movie that's on Netflix, which the movie is like about Alan Richardson's character, Thad Castle, in the pros, like the NFL. But it's hilarious. If you haven't seen it and you're a football fan, or you just like raunchy American Pie style comedies, this is right up your alley. So
Nice.
the stuff it's available on, I don't know if I've heard of half these, but like Freevee, Plex, the CW, I didn't know they had their own app, but and the Roku channel. So otherwise you can buy it on Amazon. And then the Thad Castle movie, which takes place after the 3rd season, is a Netflix movie. So again, football fan, raunchy comedies. It's hilarious. You won't regret it. But that's my number 3.
Nice. Okay.
So I guess the way this works is I have to reverse it back the other way and go with my number 2. So
Yeah.
my number 2, and this was a recommendation sent to me by one of our listeners. So the Xenophon,
The Discipline.
yeah, that person.
Get it right. Show some respect.
I'm sorry. So disrespectful.
These are our fans.
Yeah.
That's true. I should.
And none of them have called you a cunt.
I've never learned to read. But yeah, recommended The Expanse on Amazon. I finished the first season. I dig it, man. My experience with Star Trek, I would say it's closer to that than a Star Wars, but
Okay.
the cast is mostly relative unknowns, but the main character is a guy by the name of Stephen Strait. I'm sure he's from something, but I'm not real familiar with. But Tom Jane's like a big one. And again, I've only watched the first season. I really enjoyed it. There's 6 seasons total.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
they're all
a
on
lot.
Amazon. But it is really good.
Yeah, a lot of people have recommended The Expanse to me, and it's just a series that I just never got into.
I'm telling you, watch the first episode with the anti-grav sex scene. You might
sorry.
fall in.
I'm gonna cue it up right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
We're going to take a brief break.
It's worth a watch. It's I enjoyed it. Tom Jane plays like so it's like I said, it's more Star Trek in the sense that it's in the future. you deal with the population of Earth, Mars, and then these various, they call them belters, where they're out excavating whatever on these asteroid belts. And so you have all these people that have grown up outside of either of those planets, and then Earth and Mars are kind of back and forth at each other. So it's very interesting. I like I said, I'm only one season deep, but I think it was a good recommendation. And if you're into that kind of stuff, I would. Yeah, if I recall, there's only the only sex scene is in like the first 15 seconds of the pilot. So they played that one right.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, let's get
They
it.
knew what they
no,
were up
it's
to.
it's good. There's good action. The story's good. The characters are great. Wes Chatham, who is probably my favorite character in the show, plays a guy called Amos, and he's a total badass, at least in season 1. But he's actually going to be in the Ahsoka show. He's going to be Thrawn's right hand coming up. So that character from the Thrawn books is completely different than what we see in Amos in this show. But I'm very anxious to see how he handles that. So
Cool.
back to you, Jimmy. What do you got for number 2?
Yeah, it's going to come as no surprise. I'm going to recommend Star Trek. There's 2 series that are really good. This is kind of a combo here. But Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. It's kind of a twofer here because Strange New Worlds, live action, but it follows like the original Enterprise with Captain Pike and all of their stories back before Captain Kirk joined up and took over on the Enterprise, and then the Enterprise got all of its history from there. But yeah, really good stuff. They actually just had a musical episode. Received mixed results on it. Mixed reviews and everything. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks interesting, like how they set it up. But so that one, good series, really, really interesting things that they've been doing. I mean, their main enemy that they've been fighting is the Gorn, which is like this lizard folk of people. And it's just an interesting take on like everything that happened before Kirk took over the Enterprise. But then you have Lower Decks, which is basically, it's a cartoon series, and it follows pretty much everything that goes on behind the scenes of Star Trek. And it kind of answers some of those questions, like, oh, so what happens to the rest of the crew when everything else is going on? Kind of gives that look behind the veil, if you will.
Is the lower decks a reference to like we all work on the lower decks of the starship, and
exactly.
we're the grunts of
Janitors.
They keep things moving.
Yeah.
We wash all the
heroes,
shit out of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're not the main characters, if you will. They are definitely the side characters, the NPCs,
Right.
people just that are in the background. But it's a fun little series, really funny. Jack Quaid, he's one of the main characters in it. It's a fun series. Lower Decks might be a way to like kind of, if you can't stand live action Star Trek, maybe cartoon Star Trek is going to help you get into that. And I would love for you guys to get into it, because there's so much good stuff that happens in the Star Trek universe, and I would love to talk that with you guys someday.
Is like you say use that maybe to get into it. Do I need to know anything about Star Trek to get into Lower Decks though? Like,
I mean, they do make occasional references, but they also keep it light too.
Okay.
So if you want to get like the full brunt of it, yeah, definitely watch all of Star Trek. But
Okay. Let me just cross that out. Real quick.
yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, you can go into it being a layman and just having a very, very superficial understanding of what Star Trek is. Okay, you understand that there's the Enterprise, there's
Right.
Picard, and Riker, and these are all like really big like players within.
because if
Star
they're
Trek.
like you said, if there's anything I'm going to start watching of Star Trek, it is probably going to be like animated, I would say at this point, and then maybe that would draw me in. But
You're a better man than I.
yeah,
I'm saying I'm going to. I'm just saying, when
Yeah,
it gets real desperate at the height of the strike.
Yeah,
and-
like there's nothing but
yeah.
it's this or Haywire.
2025.
one of
I
these
just watched
days-
Haywire. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
One of these days, we're going to be discussing the intricacy of the inner light from Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we're all going to be like really getting into it. One of these days, but that is a great episode. God, I love it. Anyway, you can find Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks on Paramount Plus, and it's and again, I can't recommend it enough. All right. Yeah, Duncan.
Okay. I am going to break the rules, and I'm going to give 2 options for my number 2. I'm going to call this.
He just did.
Yeah,
So
I did the
I'm
same.
just going to call this the 2005 special here because these both came out in 2005.
Fair.
The first one is one that I know you're into. I don't know, Jimmy, if you've seen this, or I know we've talked about it briefly on the pod. I just don't remember. Is Constantine from 2005, starring Keanu Reeves.
Reeves, yeah.
This is it's a comic book movie that tells the story of John Constantine, the Hellblazer. He's basically a magic user, a shaman, a whatever you want to call him, and it takes him through his adventures interacting with angels, demons, hellspawn, all sorts of stuff. Shia LaBeouf is in it, very young Shia LaBeouf. Jimon Hansu and Tilda Swinton are also in it.
Oh, yeah.
Really underrated movie.
I agree. I rewatched it recently.
I
It's
love
great.
the movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves I think he's great in it.
He's so good.
I mean, anything he touches is pretty much gold, except for 47 Ronin, which kind of...
Stop it right now. I will fight you.
I was gonna say I know a lot of people
love
who like
that
that movie. It got a 46% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but as a 72 audience, which even I think that's even low. Like, and then budget was somewhere between 70 and 100 million, and it did 230 million at the box office. So it wasn't a total flop.
Gotta think most of that was CGI too. Like,
yeah, probably. But there was recently, prior to James Gunn taking over the DCU, there was talk about a sequel that Keanu Reeves has mentioned he'd be all in on that, and I would fucking love to see that.
I'm down.
So if you're looking for a good one, it's like 2 hours. It's a really fun, good movie. Oh, Rachel Weisz is also in it.
Yeah.
She's great. So that's a good one. And then my other...
Where can you find that one?
Oh, that is currently on Max.
Oh, nice.
That one is currently on Max.
I just really love the scene where she's like, yeah, I want to go to hell. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I really like the way that they, I don't know, I guess if interpret, or the way that they showcase who he is in the world of like heaven and hell, and how like he's like famous essentially in hell, he's like famous in heaven, and everybody thinks he's a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah.
And they just like, everybody wants a piece of John Constantine. And
that was the only thing about Keanu's performance in that. I don't know if he really pulled off dirtbag. He still seems like this guy's gonna help you out.
Yeah, maybe. You know? I guess I think he's good, but
he's great. I loved him. But
bringing this up, it makes me want to go watch it right now. It's such a good movie.
Part where the devil's the black oil sludge is leaking from his feet. Like that's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the other part of my 2005 combo here is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Great movie.
I almost brought that up.
Starring Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, Michelle Monaghan, Corbin Burnson. This, like I said, from 2005. This is basically, it's a comedic take on like a hard-boiled detective classic sort of style movie. And it stars Robert Downey Jr. as the protagonist, Henry Lockhart, and he's basically a shitbag. The movie
100%.
Yeah, the movie opens up with like he's a deadbeat dad and he's a criminal. And
doesn't he have like a great monologue to start it off?
Yeah, so the movie
talking about being a shitbag.
Well, the movie opens up with him burglarizing a toy store, like on Christmas Eve or right around Christmas, and he's on the phone with his daughter trying to figure out what toy she wants from the store he's breaking into.
Yep.
And they trip the alarm. The police come. Some fucking nobody neighbor sees them running from it and shoots and kills his partner. And maybe it was a cop that shoots and kills his partner, but either way, he runs and he's in New York and he finds an open door, runs into a building, and he stumbles into a screen test where they're casting for a movie. And they basically tell him action, like, go do what you're going to do. And he's all distraught because he just watched his friend get shot and he almost got caught by the cops. And he gives this big, long monologue about fucking up his whole life and being a piece of shit. And the casting directors are like, fucking... That was amazing. Like, what a method actor. Like, what a great... You're hired, and they fucking hire him for a movie and ship him out to L.A. And he's just like, okay, well, I'm wanted by the cops. Like, I'll take it. And he meets Val Kilmer's character, who is Gay Perry.
Yep.
He's a private eye out in Hollywood, and he consults on movies that need, detectives or private eye type things. And the role that Robert Downey Jr. is going to play is a private eye, so they pair him up with Perry so that he can get detective lessons, essentially. And they find themselves wrapped up in a murder and some other conspiracy sort of stuff that also brings him back into an old love interest who he had a crush on when he was a kid. And this is pre-Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. If you didn't catch
this was like his resurgence, like his here's your chance, kid.
Yeah, this was like, I'm out of prison, I'm clean, I'm getting back on the scene, and unfortunately, like, I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's one of my all-time favorite Robert Downey Jr. movies, but it bombed. So I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes like years ago when I first saw this movie, and it was terrible. I think since Avengers, since Endgame, since all of the MCU stuff,
up some steam. Yeah.
I think a lot of more people have found love for it. So it's got like an 86 from the critics and an 87 from the audience.
Nice.
So I'm happy to see that. But it was a $15 million movie, and it made $15 million.
I think
it barely broke even.
This was another one that was on my list for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I don't think I watched it until after at least the first Iron Man, maybe the second.
That's when I watched it. It was after the first Iron Man.
I, again, immediately regretted why the hell didn't I see this when it came out. It's so good. Val Kilmer is so freaking fantastic. I would put this performance by him right below Doc Holliday.
Yes.
Like, this is he's
in a
good.
totally different way.
Yeah, he's
right?
hilarious.
Like, he's so funny.
So funny.
He's so funny. And RDJ you're getting shades of who he's become with Iron Man and that, but it's a little bit of a more nuanced, subtle performance. It's really, really good.
He dives into that shitbagness that he's so familiar with.
Knows so well.
This movie came out when I was working at a movie store. That was also a tanning salon.
Weird in a Chinese restaurant.
And so the movie would play every day when I was there.
Really?
Like the trailer, not the whole movie, because then what's the point of renting it if you can just stay and watch the movie? But so I remember that, and because of the trailer playing constantly throughout the day, I was like, well, shit, I get like 2 free rentals a day. So
there you go.
I went out, rented it, and I loved it. So great movie, and it's to this day, it's still one of the movies that I'm like, I should watch that again. I should go back and rewatch it.
The dynamic between Val Kilmer and RDJ is so good. There's a moment where RDJ fucks something up, and Kilmer is like, look up the definition of the word idiot in the dictionary. You know what you're going to find? And RDJ goes, I don't know, a picture of me. He's like, no, the definition of the word idiot, which you fucking are. And just walks away. It's so good. But this is also
perfect.
Also directed by Shane Black who directed
RDJ, Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. And he's
and
also
Lethal Weapon.
And also directed Lethal Weapon and a lot of good stuff. And a lot of bad stuff.
All his movies are on Christmas Day or around Christmas.
He also directed the most recent Predator movie, which mixed reviews.
The Prey?
No, sorry, not that one. The actual one that's titled The Predator. The modern era one.
Again, I like that one with what's his name from Logan.
Yeah.
It entertained me.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Predator movie.
Like I said, mixed reviews on that one. But so it's good. It's worth checking out. So those are my 2. Unfortunately, this one, I gave you a free one. It's on Max, but this one you're going to have to rent. It's like $3.99 on Amazon or wherever else.
You keep an eye on them, though, because they pop
on
pops
and
up on Netflix every once in a while, and that's a must-see. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Really good one. So now, do I go to my 1?
Or your honorable mention.
Okay, honorable.
Well, no, I don't think. Yeah,
because we went 3 and
we should draw a map or something,
No.
or go the same direction every time.
This is
That
our
would be
lovable
helpful.
idiocy.
Yeah.
So
We're all cunts.
my honorable.
I'm Jimmy, and I'm a cunt.
I got a real tough time here. I think I'm gonna make my honorable mention 2014's Edge of Tomorrow. Have you seen this with Tom Cruise and Emily
recently
Blunt?
I don't know if
that,
I've
yeah.
seen it all the way through, to be honest with you.
Okay, well that's not a
good.
good sign for you, but in terms of that, you must not have liked it. But so I will say, like it's kind of a slept-on movie in the sense that it just didn't do very well,
Right.
And part of that is kind of marketing issues that
It's
the
got a
movie
big
had.
following, though.
It's a very popular movie. It's got a 91% from the critics and a 90% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like it's well liked and it's well worth a watch. But I think part of the issue was the studio kind of fumbled the lead up to the movie. Originally, it was going to be called All You Need to Kill, which is the name of the book that it's based on. And then they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow right before the release, and then when they released it on DVD and home media, they changed the name again to Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
But basically, this is a Groundhog Day style movie where this main character, which is Tom Cruise, repeats the same day over and over and over again. And every time he dies, he wakes up at the same point in time and has to start over. The only difference is here is he's able to progress throughout the day so long as he stays alive. So he's in the middle of a giant alien invasion war, and he meets Emily Blunt's character, who is this badass soldier who has seemingly been the only person who's been able to kill large amounts of these aliens who are very clearly winning the war. And he goes on to find out that she actually suffered from the same Groundhog's Day thing, and that's why she was able to kill so many of them. And they go on together to fight these aliens. Really fun, really well done. Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise are great in it. A lot of cool action, a lot of unique stuff in it. A lot of like fun ways they interact with the whole Groundhog Day trope. So well worth checking out.
Yeah, Bill Paxton is in it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think when I say I haven't watched it all the way through, it was like on TV, so
okay.
you miss parts and
Sure, yeah.
whatnot. So I'll definitely put that on the list. But Jimmy, I'm gonna pass it to you because my honorable mention ties right into my number one. So
Do you have anything left?
I have a number one, but
Okay. I want to make sure you got it all out for. But yeah. Okay. So my honorable mention, it's gonna be, it's a twofer. I can't not mention one without.
way to pace yourself, guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing else to watch.
That's
These
true.
are great
We're
stuff.
trying to help you out. Don't be a dick.
So the first of the honorable mentions is Red versus Blue. It is a.
I don't know if I've even heard of that.
Yeah, it is a cartoon-esque series, but basically it's like when people first learn how to motion capture, or not motion capture, but video capture their gameplay with their Xboxes.
this is Halo, right?
Yeah, and they used it via Halo, and they call it machinima, or machina, or however you want to machina, or however you want to pronounce it. Whatever the hell it's called.
Chimera.
Jesus.
But
Chimera, whatever.
yeah, there's a million different ways to pronounce it. But the premise is basically shenanigans. Like the opening sequence is, you have Griff and Simmons, Griff and Simmons, and they're up on the base and on a Halo map. And it's like, hey, why are we here? And Griff goes like deep into it, like, yeah, why are we here? God and everything else. And then Simmons is like, no, why are we here in this valley? There's only one way in, and the only reason we have a base here is because they set up a base over there. It's perfect. They go crazy into like military like stupidness, and it's just funny. It's hilarious. The episodes are like 2 to 3 minutes each, and they have like 10 seasons. So you could watch a whole all like pretty much the whole thing in a couple of days. But it's on YouTube. It's by Rooster Teeth. And as they progress, the animation and the quality got better. And they're still going. They're still doing episodes. Then my
Really?
other,
It's still going, huh?
It's still
I did not
going.
know that. That's
Yeah,
I mean, that's been
yeah.
going forever then.
yeah. So 10 plus seasons. Because God, that was like 2003, 2002 when it came out. My buddies and I, we would just quote it all day at school and have a blast with it. The most memorable is obviously there's a sticker grenade gets stuck on the head. Yeah, so funny. Anyway, my second honorable mention is Drive to Survive. It's what really like spurred my interest for F1. When COVID hit, I was out in California for where I was stationed at, and I had nothing else to do, so I'd watch Netflix and Drive to Survive. And it's a really good like peek behind the curtain of what happens in the world of F1, and you get to meet the drivers, get to meet their stories, and like you think like F1 drivers like, oh, they're just fucking like they're rich, snobby kids, whatever. Some of them are, yeah, absolutely, but you really get to like meet them and get to know them. So really enjoyed that series. It's still going. And I recommend it. It's on Netflix. If you've seen it and you've been like hesitant about it, just do it. You can follow it up with Schumacher and then Senna, and then the other movie, F1 movie Rush, with not Liam
Chris Hemsworth.
with Chris Hemsworth. A bunch of F1 movies, really good stuff. But those are my honorable mentions.
All right.
Yeah, B, what you got?
Well, I stole the honorable mention spot just so I could talk about you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do a twofer. Everybody's doing a twofer for everyone. I don't know that this is a sleeper by any means, but I was talking to my parents the other day, and they have not seen it, and they keep asking me for stuff to watch. And if you have not watched Breaking Bad. Oh, watch fucking Breaking Bad.
I wanted to mention it, but I was like, it's not really a sleeper.
It's not a sleeper, but
Yeah.
if you've been waiting for some reason or not wanting to watch it, I don't know
watch
that
it.
I can argue. Is there a better TV show? I think it's the greatest TV
I actually,
show ever.
like, got back into it this week. Literally got back into it this week.
I didn't want to see it at all. And it took me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes before I actually wanted to watch the next one. But man, it's the best show of all time.
I gotta say though, fuck Skylar. I hate her. Terrible person, terrible human being. I can't stand her.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
Marie fucking annoys me more than Skylar.
Marie
100%
is up
that
there.
Goddamn
Yeah.
purple kitchen
Yeah.
and fucking everything. Anyway,
But no, fuck, it's so good. Like I don't like
Bryan Cranston.
I don't like hearing
is
about meth
incredible.
either, but
Yeah.
oh my god, it's so
Oh, I
good.
love it.
It's so good.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, just like all the beatings. Tight. Yeah. Aaron Paul, the beatings that he takes.
How that guy, his character arc was, he's my
Amazing.
favorite character. Like
Yeah.
Walter's Walter, but Jesse is like he's such
Well,
a
they
piece
have
of
these
shit.
kind of, I mean, not to get too much into it, but they have these kind of alternate character arcs where one becomes more of a shithead and one becomes less of a shithead.
One's like he's at his
and-
core as a good person at the end, and yeah.
So it's seriously go fucking watch it.
So if
feel
you've
so
been
bad for
hesitating,
Jesse at the end.
if you've been hesitating, what it's the
is it
greatest show
5
of all
seasons?
time.
6, I think.
I want to say something like that.
I think it's 5 or 6 seasons,
Yeah.
and there's if you get into that, then you can get into the follow-up movie and
El Camino,
Yeah.
and then
prequel series.
I
Better Call
still have
Saul.
not started watching Better Call Saul. I think
Better
I
Call
saw
Saul
the
is
first
so
one.
good.
I've heard
It's-
that's
a lot of
another
good
one
things,
that people
but
have said is fantastic.
That's
So I've watched
probably
the first
that's
2
probably
seasons,
a sleeper
but
for me that I need to get on. But
Yeah, Better Call Saul, absolutely. Yeah.
Quit wasting your time. Last time I checked, it was on Netflix.
It's still on Netflix.
Yep.
So, but the whole reason I wanted to steal this spot was because I wanted to talk about a movie called Street Kings, which you brought it up earlier.
I brought it up earlier, yeah.
But it's a Keanu movie, and it's basically the movie version of the series that I'm going to talk about for my number one choice. But if you haven't seen it, it's got a great cast, even though Common's in it.
You really don't like him?
I don't like Common. He's the same character in every fucking movie. That's why I don't like him. But no, Keanu Reeves, the main character, he's kind of this shitbag vice detective.
Yeah.
I don't know if they say that. I think he's gang. I think he's actually gangs. I think he works like gang unit.
Yeah, I can't remember
stuff.
exactly what they say.
But he's an alcoholic, but he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
Terry Crews, his former partner, they get in a little tiff, and bad things happen to Terry Crews, not because of Keanu, but Chris Evans is in it. He's really great. He's this rookie homicide detective. Jay Moore, if you love him, he's this douchebag sergeant in the former unit of Keanu Reeves, and then Forrest Whitaker, so good in this movie, and then I can't think of his name, the dude from House, Hugh Laurie. Yes,
in it.
this is probably the best I've ever seen him in anything. I didn't watch House, but
House is amazing, but he's great in this.
So good in this. But fantastic movie. It's about he's a shitbag, but he like goes on to uncover all these dirty cops, and it's so good, so good. But like I said, the reason I picked that is my honorable mention. And by the way, you're gonna have to pay for that one too. It's like $4 on Amazon. That's a steal. Or you can come borrow my DVD.
I was gonna say,
yeah, I have it on DVD.
He's got the DVD. You can just.
But yeah.
Right, so
transitioning. That was kind of a movie version of my number one recommendation, and it's a little series called The Shield, which was was on FX back in the day, and this is another one that I had zero interest, because the main character is Michael Chiklis, who I know from growing up as being the commish. And I don't remember watching a lot of the commish, but I remember him being this bumbling fat idiot, but apparently a good cop, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of it, so I had this negative connotation with I can't watch a show where Michael Chiklis, the commish, is a badass.
Sure.
Because the first season, I think they advertised it as. This cop, his name's Vic Mackey, and he's a leader of this strike team that's an anti-gang, anti-narcotics unit in what they were going to call it Rampart was the original name, but then all that really bad shit happened.
Yeah.
So they changed it to the Shield, and they changed the Rampart district to Farmington, but he's this just badass cop, this just out there just crushing skulls, and they pitched it as Al Capone with a badge. Like, he's got this this dark side, like he's a bad cop, but he's out there getting all these murderers and stuff, and it's so fucking good. And there's some people in it that are kind of taking off right now, like Walton Goggins has been in a lot of shit since then.
Yeah.
Like
Justified.
He was big in Justified. Right now he's in The Righteous Gemstones, which I think he like writes and is an executive producer on.
Never heard of that.
With it's on Max. It's with Danny McBride and John Goodman and Adam Devine, whatever.
Yeah.
But he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, so he's great. He's really good, and he's like Vic Mackey's right hand. His name's Shane, but Forrest Whitaker actually shows up in this too. He's a way down the road. He's a IA investigator that's really got a screw loose, and he's trying to pin Mackey and his crew down, but They are dirty cops. It starts out that they're dirty. Like the first season, that pilot episode will blow your mind. It's not the show you think you're getting into, and then they kind of weave this web of like, yeah, they're out there fighting crime and they're cleaning up the streets, but they're also making money on the side, doing some dirty shit. But they're really good at what they do. And then like, they pull off some big fucking scores, and Glenn Close comes in and takes over as the captain of the Farmington division, and that kind of like forces Vic to, I'm gonna be a good guy again. And so he has this arc of like redeeming all the bad shit that he's done, but in the end, all the bad shit that they did, it just catches up with him, and it's, oh my God, it's so fucking good. The last season, they ended up rushing the last season. The writer and executive producer, his name is Sean Ryan. He left this show to go do one of the network TV shows, and he totally fucked this show by leaving. It's still a good story, and like my favorite scene, maybe in all of television, is one of the last episodes of the show. There's just this super intense scene where there's so much writing on it, and like the tension and the pressure is just unreal. But great show. The last episode or the last season of the series is definitely the weakest. But like I said, my favorite episode of all TV is in that last season. So
How many seasons did you say there are?
I believe there are 7 seasons.
Okay, so a lot to work with there.
Yeah, and it's so good. Like,
Right, I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for something to
and that's
get
kind of
into.
what I tried to look for, was something a little girthy, if
Right.
you know what I mean? Because, like I said,
You seek out what you don't have. So.
that too. But like I said, we got nothing but time because it ain't gonna be shit for a while. So
Yep.
here's a 7-season show that it's great. It's fantastic. You can't go wrong with it. So that's my number one.
Nice.
Who wants the top spot now?
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah. Okay. So I do have 2 additional submissions here before I get to my top spot.
What? How does that work?
Or sorry, 1 additional. One is from from a good group of friends of mine. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, what do you guys think of this? And they actually mentioned the Righteous Gemstones. So that's
really?
it's at least 2 recommendations for the Righteous Gemstones.
Oh, I didn't recommend it. I just said he was in it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
I sorry, I misheard. you. I
Let me
thought you
talk to my wife
recommended
about it. She's watching.
Yeah. But yeah, they said it's a comedy. It's really good. Check it out. And that's pretty much all that they told me on it. So yeah, check that one out. But without further ado, my top spot. Drum roll.
Drunken drum roll.
Yeah.
Stick to guitar.
In concurrence with my D&D group, Ghost Files. This is, if you're into the paranormal at all, paranormal investigations, this is a great series and show to get into. And I hesitate to call it a show because it's live. Not even live, but it's investigation. They go to these haunted places and they investigate them. And it's by Shane Madej and Ryan Bagara, and these guys are just they're crazy, but they also take it seriously. Ryan Bagara, more so, he is definitely a believer in the paranormal, and Shane Madej, he's absolutely a skeptic. He will write everything off. He was like, "Oh no, that was the door, or that was just you shuffling." And like, there's clearly like been like electronic voice phenomenons, EVPs, that say some things, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah,
Okay.
no, that wasn't anything. That was this, or that was
Spoiler,
that.
he's right.
they do have a great dynamic. I watched
They
their
really
stuff when
do.
they were doing like BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Yeah, that's where they started. BuzzFeed Unsolved.
And like they're together, they're fucking funny. They are hilarious.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
You
they've
don't
had
see a lot of funny, like, paranormal investigation.
No, like
shows.
he said,
yeah.
the dynamic between the skeptic and the true believer thing is
gotcha.
very funny. And then at the same time, like being a skeptic, but like I'm still in like this really dark, abandoned,
This is
like
really
scary
fucking scary.
place. Like
Yeah.
I'm still not really into this. Like it's
Not
pretty good.
comfortable.
Yeah, it's funny to see because they do like solo sessions too. Like Ryan will do a solo session, like 5 minutes in the pitch dark in this like supposedly haunted place. He's going nuts, like absolutely crazy.
Please, ghost, please don't eat my ass.
yeah.
That's like a famous one from him.
Yeah, and
Why
then,
he's got his feet behind his ears.
yeah, and then Shane will do it, and he's like, "Yep, this is a dark basement," or like he'll play into it, like, "Oh, demons, it's your boy."
Yeah,
You know?
that's another famous one.
So it's just, I mean, I love it because I'm definitely a believer because I've had some crazy experiences, and we can get into that someday. But there's some crazy things that they have happened, and just things that I can't explain because like I always go into it like some kind of a skeptical thing, like, oh, they got to be doing something here.
Sure.
But there's things that they're just really tough to explain. But yeah, you can find it on YouTube. You can find all their original stuff from when they from before they parted from BuzzFeed. You can find it at BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural. But Ryan Bergara, right as COVID hit, he started his own YouTube corporation kind of thing called Watcher. And he's done some interviews about like just how stressful that was. But like Watcher in general, they have a bunch of other series too that you can just spend hours and hours and hours watching. They have one called Too Many Spirits. That's where they drink and they tell stupid stories, and they do like a 4-part series, and you just see them get progressively drunker as the night goes.
It
and
seems, man, so familiar.
We're totally
about
familiar.
this.
It's almost like I was there.
Yeah, he's got Muppet. They do Muppet history, where one of the guys has a Muppet and they tell stories.
So your number one is like 16 different Ryan Bergara shows. Is that?
Well, okay. My number one is Ghost Files, but compiled with Ghost Files is the guys Ryan Bergara and Shane Madej and all of their shenanigans they do. But yeah, if you're into ghost stuff at all, check that out. I love it. My wife actually, as you guys like right before you got here, a new episode was released, and she was like, "Come watch this right now." And I was like, I want to, but I got to set up, so I can't.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, I'll just rewatch it with you. I'm like, you probably were going to anyway. Number one, let's go, Duncan. What you got?
Okay. My number one, again, these aren't really ranked in any particular order. So, but my number one is the 2012 movie Dread.
What did I tell you? You and Tony are two peas in a pod. Because he's been busting
right.
my balls about that movie for
Is this another one that you
years.
don't like or you haven't seen?
I didn't like it.
Okay, well, you can go fuck yourself. So,
I haven't seen it yet. Sell me.
okay, well, basically, did you ever see the Stallone Judge Dredd movie?
I did, yes.
Okay,
A
Really
couple of
bad.
times,
Really,
yeah.
really
That's
bad.
really-
Not flash bad, but really bad.
really bad. This is nothing like that.
Okay.
This is a more, and I hate this phrase, but like realistic take on it, I guess. I will say
Grittier.
I will say a more gritty, and I will say a more like functional take on the character. For those who don't know, Judge Dredd is a longtime comic book character who has had one other adaptation, that being the Stallone one, and that movie is pretty dog shit.
Yeah,
But basically, he is a character who is in the future, and this movie takes place in 2080, and it is the future where basically Earth has become a radioactive wasteland, and all the population that remains of the Earth has been basically huddled together in these cities, which are basically known as mega cities, and they are just super compact, super tall, just packing you in like a tuna can.
It's like a project.
Yeah,
it's
but
like on city scale.
yeah, and like on like steroids,
Right.
like 800 million residents. live.
It's fucking Coruscant.
Yeah, but condensed to the size of
Right.
New York City.
Right.
Like so in this movie takes place in Mega City 1, which, like I said, has 800 million residents and 17,000 serious crimes reported daily. And
only 17,000.
the police have been replaced by what are known as judges, who act as judge, jury, and executioner there and then on the spot. So, for instance, there is at the beginning of this movie, Dredd is basically tasked with taking down a gang that is selling drugs in this 200-story slum, and he has to go in there with his recruit. He's on training day. He's an FTO. Take his recruit in there and shut down this this drug operation that this gang is doing. And as he's walking in there, there's a fucking homeless dude just laying on the ground outside the slum, and that's a crime. Like, vagrancy is a crime. So he's like, hey, you have. Like, you've been found guilty. You need to move. If you're still here when I come back, you're going to jail. And then he goes into what, for any other cop or any other judge, would be like the worst day of their entire life. And, almost gets killed a million times, has to shoot and gun down hundreds of fucking dudes in there and go through this crazy, action movie. And then as he's coming back out, the homeless guy's still laying there, and he's like, I told you, I gave you a chance. And he just fucking picks him up and he takes him to jail. And
I thought you were going to say he killed him. I'm like,
no,
God damn.
not all crimes are punishable by death, despite how it is. But basically, there's famous Judge Dredd lines that they kind of redo in this, where it's like, you've been found guilty, your sentence, death, and then kill people on the spot. And Carl Urban plays the titular Judge Dredd. He is fucking amazing. If you're not familiar with Carl Urban, right? He's from The Boys. At least that's his most recent famous role.
He's in every nerd thing.
Yeah, he's in tons of nerd properties.
So
he's in Lord of the
much.
Rings. He's
Chronicles
in Star
of
Trek.
Riddick.
Chronicles
Yeah.
of Riddick. He's probably been a stormtrooper at
Thor.
some point.
Yeah.
He's in tons of stuff. And God bless him for this movie, because he wears a helmet the entire fucking time, like a boss.
You hear that, Pedro?
Yeah, exactly. It's really him under the mask. And he has a great, really cool, futuristic, but very, functional and tactical version of the Judge Dredd outfit. And it's not like the gaudy, crazy Judge Dredd outfit that Stallone wears with a huge eagle shoulder pad.
Was
and
pretty close to the art in the comic book.
Very accurate for the comic book, for the original
one, yeah.
design. The Stallone one is, but it just doesn't really work with the way they tell the story. And speaking as a former FTO here, his interactions with his recruit, and it being a nightmare for the recruit, but just kind of another day for Judge Dredd is super fun. His recruit is Judge Anderson, who's played by Olivia, I think it's Thirlby. And the resident drug lord main bad guy is Mama, who's played by Lena Headey.
Oh, fuck. That's
and
Cersei, right?
I don't know.
Game of Thrones?
Oh, that one.
Yes, she is Cersei. Cersei Lannister on HBO epic fantasy drama series Game of Thrones, 2011 to 2019.
Yeah.
Has won many primetime Emmys.
Shame.
But
Ding.
again, that show I haven't seen. But unfortunately, this movie fucking bombed. It was about a $45 million budget, and it made $41 million.
Oh.
It's super visually interesting. It has a really unique visual style to it that's not really like anything I've seen before. It's such a good movie. It's really a fun action movie that does things a little differently. It's reminiscent of the previous adaptation of Dredd in a way that's fun, but it takes those that character and updates it and brings it to a modern era. And and I just think it's well worth the what is it? It's an hour and 35 minutes. Like it's the perfect action movie length.
Oh, that is short.
Just watch it and get the rest of your day done.
You know what? You won me over. For you and for Tony and for Carl Urban, I'm going to give it another shot.
You should. I think it's seriously, it's worth it. I think it has a lot of value and a lot of fun stuff.
I got to see what I rated
I've
it
always
as.
wanted to see it, but then be no, I don't want to watch it.
The only
I'll have it queued up. You know what? No, Breaking Bad. I'll watch Breaking Bad instead.
The only hindrance to that now is that it was available on Max for the longest time and Netflix before that for the longest time, but the only option now is to rent it.
All right, never mind.
So rent it on Amazon Prime or borrow my DVD. I'll send it to you in the mail.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's good stuff. I really enjoy it, and that's my number one pick.
You know, that's good. But since we brought it up, a sleeper series for you, I think just try on Game of Thrones. I had zero interest in it. I'm telling you,
it's good. It's really good.
I had zero. That's not my thing. Like dragons
that
and
type
knights
of
and all that
fantasy
stuff.
is just
Didn't
not really
do anything
interesting to me.
It's not like that. It's
it's
really good.
I know it's just all sex and
Yeah, but that'll get you a long way. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
see if the wife will watch it with
Maybe
you.
we'll see. She might like it. I don't know.
You know, I'm surprised nobody brought up Spartacus.
You know, I've never seen that either.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple of
I am
episodes.
Spartacus.
Oh,
But
I'm
I
Spartacus.
I'm Jimmy.
I don't
and I'm a
think
cunt.
I was just about to play it. Yeah.
I'm Jimmy, and I'm a cunt.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. No, we lost B. He's dead. He's
having
gone.
a stroke.
That joke's only going to be funny for these 2 episodes, and then it's just gonna
I don't know. That might have some staying power.
Maybe for you. I still can't believe you called you.
I might try Game of Thrones if.
I'm telling you, I'm the same way. That's
Depends
not
on how
my
desperate we get.
That's not my thing, but man, I'm all in. Dracarys like a motherfucker, man. Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now you
It's
read the books too. God, the first couple of seasons they really follow the books really well, and then it just kind of goes off on its own because
I don't know anything about that.
But
they had no source
I
material.
also know that everybody universally hated the last season and how they wrapped it all up.
I think
because it
I
was
hate
terrible.
it.
That makes me not want to watch it. So
Yeah, but dragons and titties is pretty catchy. I'm
I
just saying.
guess, but
Telling you.
I mean, I prefer titties and dragons in that order, but
Actually, it is in that order.
Okay,
'Cause I think it's
there's
several seasons before
Yeah.
you see a dragon, but the other stuff is
the
up
tit to
front,
dragon
yeah.
ratio is definitely in favor of the
also I
tit.
hate Jason Momoa, and isn't he in
He's
that?
actually great in it because
No,
he
he's
doesn't
not.
talk.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Well,
and
he
he's only
does,
in it
but it's in a
for-
different language, and
yeah,
it
like
just
the first
grunts,
season,
basically.
yeah.
Okay. You're not really selling me on this. So.
Yeah.
That's true. Why am I pointing out all that?
I mean,
I said titties and dragons, and that didn't hook you. So
no, but yeah, Game of Thrones, great reference. Yeah.
great.
Grain of Thrones.
I also recommend Grouse of Dragons. It's also good too. It's all right. John Cheadle's in both of them, so. The wheels have fallen off on this one.
Okay, yes.
Well, we made it through the formation.
Yeah, we did
Should
it.
we move on to the mailbag?
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say, if you guys have any, recommendations for us, like the Expanse that people have recommended, send them to us. I want to know what you guys are watching and what we're missing out on. So
I'll be honest with you. We'll probably do another one of these because, I said, we're gonna be hunting for good stuff to watch,
Sure,
and
yeah.
if there's stuff that we've missed out there, or maybe we've talked about it and haven't dove in, let us know.
maybe if we get enough of a reception from you guys, maybe we'll do a viewer recommendations episode where we can talk about
that'd be great.
That'd be great.
all the stuff you guys have recommended.
We'll review all the dumb shit you throw at us for once. So
Yeah,
but
maybe
no,
we'll
that'd
send
be
you
great.
some hate mail.
yeah.
No, we won't. I think the show is hate mail to everyone who listens to their ears.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right.
So mail call then.
Mail
right?
call.
Yeah.
Milk call. Milk call. Milk call. Milk call.
And I'm a coat. I kind of tweaked my voice a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Oh man.
What do we got? Who's got
These are
one on the
pickles.
burner here? Jimbo over there's got one.
Oh, big Jimmy.
Big tuna.
Okay. Okay. This is from our favorite non-co-host, but he's a co-host, T.O.
Favorite person
Tizzle.
who talks to us through an iWatch,
Yeah.
Apple Watch, whatever you call it.
He asks, is the multiverse concept good for Marvel and DC, or is it shit? Besides Into the Spider-Verse, does it help or hurt comic book movies? I love the different interpretation of characters, but do the minimal consequences of being able to grab another version of the character from another dimension actually hurt character arcs and good storytelling? Yeah, I like the concept of the multiverse for both of these because I mean it's already been kind of pretty much established throughout their canon, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. I do agree though that it does kind of like it feels weird whenever a character dies because it can just go and pull somebody from another universe, as we kind of previously discussed. But you know, I think it plays well, and it is currently playing well, and it's what a lot of people like to see. I mean, you see that a lot with Loki, and I mean, not just a lot with Loki, but pretty much just Loki, the series. I mean, the new season's coming out here in a couple of months, and that one's going to be more focused on it, the whole time variant, everything. So yeah, I think the multiverse really just plays well into those series. Yeah,
I'm over it. I mean, the examples that he gave, Doctor Strange was pretty good. But even then,
It wasn't really a multiverse of madness. It was like
No.
3 different
like here's,
universes.
I went to, we might fall through a couple at one
Yeah.
point. There's dinosaurs and
So I do really
Stuff.
like the multiverse as a concept, but I think it's really hard to play in a cinematic universe, in a movie sense. In the comic books where already anything goes and there's just 100 years of continuity and fun things to fuck with. I think it works really well. Like I like, personally seeing different versions of a character that I love, and I get
Sure.
to see redesigned costumes. I get to see
yeah.
new interpretations of their allies and their enemies and everything else. And like we talked about last episode, we get cool Elseworld non-canon stories
Yeah.
out of that stuff
The
that
Red
because
Sun
of the
and stuff like
multiverse
that.
they
Yeah.
can be revisited at some point. And I recently talked about like a Batman issue where he's kind of falling through the multiverse and he meets Adam West Batman and Michael Keaton Batman
Oh,
and
interesting.
and stuff like that. So like I like the multiverse as a concept. I think it's highly problematic in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now, and I think it's just really, if it's not done well, it's
Agreed.
problematic. And what I mean by done well is like Tio mentioned, Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man,
And
yeah.
the thing that Spider-Verse has done well is even though there is an infinite amount of Spider-Man and an infinite number of universes, and they're like 90% of them are Peter Parkers. Every single one of them is unique.
Yeah.
We can't just go pull a new Peter Parker from some other. I mean, theoretically we could, but they haven't shown it to us that
Right.
way. They've made everybody unique enough. They made the villains unique enough. They made the worlds unique enough that it doesn't feel like a cop-out when somebody dies that we could just go get. Like Chris Pine's Spider-Man dies. We don't go to another universe and see the exact Spider-Man. The closest
Right.
Spider-Man we see is Peter B. Parker, and he's, although similar,
Yeah. He's
he's a
got
totally
so
different
different.
a
Yeah.
totally different character. And so that's why I think that concept is successful and fun and interesting. And like I said, it's what I like about the multiverse, where you get to see variations and cool costumes and abilities and whatever else, and you get to have these fun interactions and talk about the similarities that they have, but also all the differences.
I think to be fair, I think.
Do I have to watch that series now too?
Fuck yeah, you do.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah.
I watched that when I was stuck in the room
Toilet.
for COVID, and I was laughing like I was tonight. Like I
so
hurt.
much good stuff.
But anyways, I digress.
What the fuck is up with your body here, Big Shoots?
Yeah. I think my biggest problem right now is that we're just being inundated with it. Like, I think my opinion would be very different if, hey, Marvel's doing this right now, but everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
and like
because Marvel paved the way.
Sure.
Everybody wants to copy their homework.
But, I mean, does Marvel get the credit for it? Yeah, it's probably Feige's brainchild, but.
Well, they're not the first ones to have done it, if that's what you mean.
No. And we could go way back on that, but like, I it's just the way Hollywood works. It's like somebody's doing that, and that's why we're sitting here in a room talking about comic book movies, is because everybody's doing comic book movies right now. And it's sad that like all the comic book movies are doing the exact same thing. Like, mix it up, make it different, give me a reason to pull me to DC instead of Marvel or Image or what Valiant or whatever. Vin Diesel isn't going to do it for me, so you're going to have to do something else. But I don't know. I know I'm a broken record, but like, I think Star Wars is so hot right now just because they're playing with that, mixing up genres. Like, The Mandalorian is a freaking Western. And the Star Wars at its core is about samurais.
Yeah.
And they mixed like pirates and robots and space movies and like all that stuff together. And I think that's what's going to entertain us moving forward, is that combination of all these different genres. Like, that's what I want to see. But I don't want to see my favorite characters and all these different things doing the same thing. Like, go out on your own to try something new.
What I think would be if they really wanted to do the multiverse for like DC or for Marvel, is like we've talked about this, or I've talked about this, where there's already, there's 75 to 100 years worth of stories that take place in that are not canon anymore, or that never were meant to be. And something like Marvel Zombies, like we saw What If, but why not just make a Marvel Zombies movie where you just you don't have to worry about the weight of everything else. Because of everything else, everyone kind of has a basic understanding of these characters, and you can use that understanding to move forward, but it could be totally unrelated and never intersect, and that's fine. Not everything needs to be a fucking nostalgia reference all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
The climax of the movie, like the Robert Pattinson Batman. Like, for the love of God,
perfect example.
Please don't fucking cross that over with anything.
I think that's an opportunity for James Gunn right there, is like, here's your opportunity to do something different. You have a franchise that's going in the right direction. The Batman, so good. I know you didn't like it, but
He's wrong.
You're falling asleep in this podcast too, so that's fine. But I think that's an opportunity there. Like, fuck, I'm not calling for it, but throw the Snyderverse back in there. Do 3 different lanes of these are all great stories. Let's tell them.
And just don't feel the need to intersect them.
Yes.
And bring them together for a giant battle against the Thanos of the week. Like, I don't
Flash
care.
is the perfect example of how you shit the bed.
Yeah.
Like, they did it wrong. And have you watched it on Max yet?
Not yet,
It's
no.
so fucking bad. Like, the ending is just like, I'm out of ideas, so let's just throw all this shit up against the wall and We don't care if it sticks or not. We're just going to throw it all in there. And that's exactly what happens.
You know what I'm going away from like Marvel and DC and everything, away from this question a little bit. But it's okay to have an original idea and do your thing. Yeah. John Wick 4, so good, really good. The John Wick universe, really good stuff. It's an original idea for the most part. Assassin.
Yeah, they didn't invent the wheel, like reinvent the wheel. Like it's
it doesn't.
But it's great.
Yeah, it doesn't need to interconnect with a million other fucking things. No. But it's a good series and people enjoy it. Yeah, so I agree.
Well, I haven't seen it, but there was that other multiverse movie that came out.
I still haven't seen that yet.
Everything all together.
And apparently it's the best one out of all.
It, but apparently it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh, is that who's in it?
And Short Round.
Won a bunch of Oscars.
Yes. Yeah, won a bunch of Oscars. Like, is universally praised. Like, as soon as it is available somewhere to watch, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Everything all at once. Everything all at once.
Everything everywhere all at once.
There you go.
Yeah. There. Okay. Yeah.
Finally.
We'll get there eventually.
But that exactly, like, the multiverse concept can work. And if you're going to specifically do it in comic book movies, I just don't think you need necessarily to cross over everything.
I agree.
I don't really need to see Robert Pattinson's Batman have a conversation with fucking Christopher Reeves.
No.
Like, I don't. And I don't necessarily need Superman to even exist in that universe. But if you can tell a good story, then I'm not against it either. It honestly just needs to be the right story.
I don't know how they do another one moving forward, like the nostalgia one, like you're talking about. Because like after Spider-Man, No Way Home, like Andrew Garfield comes out, so we all know Tobey's gonna come out.
Yeah,
the next one, and that was done amazing. I loved it. Yep. I loved it, and the interaction between all three of them was so good. It was great. And then we get to The Flash, and they bring in Michael Keaton. And I do love Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah.
But, like, it was for no point. And, like, next time a portal opens in any of these movies, we're like, nah, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern.
Unfortunately, I don't.
We know.
And maybe Marvel, because of the Jonathan Majors stuff, will take a left turn and they'll rethink things.
Might be the best thing that ever happened to him.
But like, I've already seen tons of fucking rumors about Avengers Secret Wars.
Oh yeah,
where
I saw one today. Nick Cage is coming back as Johnny Blaze and Ghost
Nick
Rider.
Cage is Ghost Rider, and Hugh Jackman is going to be Wolverine again, and Tobey Maguire and him are going to have interactions, and Andrew Garfield is going to have a huge part in
Spider-Man 4,
and like, it's just it doesn't have to be like that. It can be like that.
I just think you gotta move on.
I agree, but
it's been done.
Like I said, anything can be good, and Spider-Verse is proof of that. But you just have to really think it out. And
yeah, I agree.
Understand that the audience is smart, and we're going to get bored of the same old stuff. We're going to recognize what you're doing.
I think we are bored of the same old stuff.
We're going to recognize that you're just profiting on my childhood likes, and if you do it cheaply and you do it poorly, then I'm going to be upset about it.
But that goes back to the purpose of this particular episode, where we're talking about, here's some stuff you should watch because there isn't going to be anything moving forward.
Yeah.
This is the worst possible time for this to happen.
Yep.
Because I hope all the writers that are on strike right now are writing their ass off and coming off. No, I'm serious. Like, at home, they're coming up with the greatest stories that are ever going to be told, and they're gonna sell them for a big check, you know. Yeah. And I hope that it's like a renaissance after this, that we're gonna get all this great shit because they've had time to work out their stuff and
right.
But I
saw a great perspective on the strikes, and that I think it was Seth Rogen who was actually talking about it, and he was talking about how like the writers and the actors and all the various unions, like they're friends. Like they already work together in tandem. So at the end of this strike, they go back to being friends. They who all won if they get what they want. The studios are all enemies. They're all competing. They're all trying to get more money than the next and the next greatest hit and this and all that and that thing. And they have to come together and put aside those differences to solve the strike, to go to the table and say, yes, we'll give you this, or no, we won't, and come to a resolution. And then at the end of it, they go back to being enemies. So there is no incentive for them to really settle on this, especially if they can just make people hurt and start losing their fucking houses and losing their fucking livelihood and then come crawling back, which is disgusting and terrible. But it's just terrifying because I don't know that what you're saying it's ideal, but I don't know that it's possible, and it's really scary to think what's going to happen.
Well, my biggest concern is like, yeah, I would love for this renaissance of all this good shit to come afterwards, but my concern is this is going to go on for so long that studios are just going to be throwing cash at any dumbass that has an idea that probably sucks. You know, like they need a hit so bad that they'll do anything, you know? So I hope I'm wrong. I hope
the only thing
out,
that is helpful is that the actors have followed suit and that they're striking because now they just can't. Like in 2007 or whatever, when the writers did the strike, they didn't struck. They had a strike.
Yeah, they might have had a stroke. Who knows?
They like
probably had a stroke or two.
Like for instance, I can't remember which James Bond movie was coming out with Daniel Craig, but like
Quantum Solace.
Quantum Solace. Like he essentially wrote it with like the director and everybody else.
That's why it wasn't very good.
That's why it kind of sucked. Like no offense to Daniel Craig, but you know he's an actor, so. That's why writers are so important. But now, like, they can't even do that. Like, they don't have actors.
They don't have anybody to lean on.
Film anything with. Like, so even if they had AI write a story, like, they can't have anybody act it out unless they completely computer generate it and have VFX do all that. But even VFX artists are starting to unionize because, like, a bunch of them just unionized against Marvel.
Against Disney and Marvel. Yeah.
So hopefully that alone.
Yeah, we're all fucked. We're the ones that are going to suffer.
Like, yeah, but I mean
people.
At least I still have a job. So.
Yeah, so that's bad. But I don't know.
This is a good question. Do we have other ones?
Hey, we're gonna bring it back to Star Wars. So this is from the hotel clerk. With it being revealed that Sabine has some sort of connection to the Force. This is referring to the Ahsoka show. If you're nasty. With it being revealed that Sabine has some sort of connection to the Force, what past non-Force wielding Star Wars character would you want to give Force abilities to?
Jar Jar Binks.
I was gonna fucking say that.
What else that tongue do?
Darth Jar Jar. Yes,
if you follow the internet, that's what everyone wants.
Yes,
100%. I do not actually want that.
No. Nah, I don't really either. I could do without it. He's in the Darth Plagueis book. He's actually like a fucking bum, like doing tricks for money by a fountain on Naboo.
Jar Jar is?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because they chased him out because of his hand in like creating the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, and not a Sith apparently. So, Force.
Who would we give Force abilities to?
Finn. Finn would be a great one.
No, because he already has them. Like,
does he?
That's where they were leading us.
That's a better movie.
There was rumors that Poe Dameron would have
I don't think I wanted
Force abilities, and that's why he was such a proficient pilot, as he had some connection to the Force.
That makes sense. You can say the same about Hera.
Maybe Porkins, and then he wouldn't have died on Death Star. No, I kid.
I don't know if I have a really good answer. It's a great question, but I mean, I could see Lando like just being a
and he just uses it for gambling.
Yeah. Like I can see that.
I almost said Lando because of the same thing. Like,
I mean,
but
my dead brain just wants to say like Chewbacca or something. Like, I don't know, fucking Wookiee.
I mean,
what about
there
this?
are
I don't have a
Wookiee
specific
Jedi.
answer, but what if we saw a droid with a connection to the Force?
It happened in the Star Wars Vision show, and it was fucking terrible, and I hated it.
Okay.
Mostly because it was like an anime.
You just didn't like the style.
I hated the animation style.
Okay.
I don't hate anime. I want to make that clear, but I hated
Hear that, guys? He hates anime.
Yeah, I hate it all.
I think this question is tough because most of the people that we see that don't have the Force fill those roles where they don't need the Force. And
Right.
for me, for thinking this question out is
All right, I'm gonna shoot my shot. I got one.
okay. What you got?
Luthen
Oh, from Andor?
from Andor.
Okay.
Just because I fucking love that character.
Man, talk about
And
a fucking
his
gray
monologue about how
sacrifice.
I'm willing to fucking make my life a living hell for a future that I'll never see.
yeah,
Like,
I work towards
that.
a sunrise that I
that's-
will never see.
That's something a Jedi would do,
yeah.
you know?
Okay.
But the way he
Okay.
goes about doing it, I'm fucking all about, you know?
Yeah. Man, that's a good speech.
Oh, so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think like I said, like some sort of droid that we see with
Well-
I don't know who though.
There was a Star Wars omnibus comic from years ago where R5, who came back in Mandalorian season 3,
Yeah.
that he
Oh, and this one's got a busted
he
motivator.
sacrificed himself so R2 would go with the Lars.
Yeah, I've heard
family.
that,
So,
But I think it'd be cool to see like an IG series or even an HK
what's the
assassin.
BDX ones? The
BDSM? What?
fucking, huh?
Huh?
Man, it's getting musty in here.
I don't know.
The ones from Jedi Survivor, the commando droids, they have the swords. And
Oh, the
BDX, right?
Yeah, Commando.
Yeah,
Yeah, from the prequels from.
the Clone,
Clone
Wars.
Wars, thank
yeah,
you. Yeah.
that one.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean that'd be cool, but
Yeah.
something like that.
That
I don't know how
is
you would necessarily explain that, but like in my
don't know
opinion, like
like Short Circuit, like
well,
Johnny
they're-
Five
well,
is
they're
alive.
all like
You know?
they're all like
Oh, that's too old for you guys.
I know what that is,
No,
but
I
they're
know-
all
I know Johnny
they,
Five.
They are all treated as if they are living beings. Like they have bars, they have
That's true.
They have jobs, they have like people talk to them like they're not just a program, which I've already
Right.
talked about as being like
Right,
confusing
right.
for me in the Star Wars world.
Right.
But like C-3PO is essentially a human character. I mean, he's got a stick
Right.
up his ass, but he's he's a human character. So I mean, imagine seeing like a droid use the Force and like stop somebody or do
that's
something.
a very like Animatrix
Sure,
take,
yeah.
like the origin of the war against the machines.
Yeah.
You know, like that, I can
yep.
see that. I don't know, Jimmy, you got one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with what I like shot out. You know, Finn. I think it'd be cool to see him.
It would have been a way better story.
Yeah, they kind of alluded to it, like you said, but I'd like to see him just
hardcore.
Actually,
just come
in
out and
the-
say it. Yeah.
They did a Lego holiday special, where Finn's actually training with Rey.
Oh,
So
interesting.
It's canon now.
Yeah. Maybe wild card here, maybe R2. Going into your droid.
He might as
I
well
mean, you
have the
kind of
fucking
if
Force.
you could make an argument for that guy, I
Yeah,
think.
like he gets himself into and out of quite a few pickles. So.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. What about Jabba? Maybe
No.
he's just mind tricking ladies to be like, "Hey,
Sure.
want one of these frogs?"
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot that one down.
I
yeah,
do like
no.
the idea that, and they've explored this with some of the creatures in Star Wars, that they have an innate connection to the Force, but they use it in a more primitive manner, like say for hunting or
Yep.
for tracking or for that sort of thing.
That's-
So I like that.
I'll be interested to see moving forward with Ahsoka when we finally get Thrawn back in the Timothy Zahn books back in the day. He goes to this planet that has this species of like sloth
Yeah.
kind of creature,
Do the
Yulsarin,
opposite.
that they repel the Force,
Right.
so you can't
use the Force in their presence. Yeah.
and like even Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
was not immune to them.
Yep.
So like they're that powerful, and I think they adapted that because there was like a some kind of predator, like a tiger or something, on that planet that had
Right.
like
Yeah.
force
That's exactly
abilities,
what it was. Yeah.
and that they were able to block that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of what one looks like, but in the books, I just image a sloth like just
Yeah, that's what I
hanging over his
That's
shoulder.
what I picture
So,
it is.
but yeah, so I mean, I think that'll be interesting. We'll see if that comes up. But so safety brief. What's on the agenda, boys?
Nothing much really. Band practice.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
that's right.
Yeah.
Jimmy's in a band now. That's awesome.
Yeah. Working on a bunch of 2000s pop punk emo songs. Loving it.
All right.
I dig it.
Cool. Football season, baby.
Yeah. Go Colts. We
I don't know
beat
anything
we
about
beat
that.
the Eagles
What's this wee
earlier
shit?
this
You
week.
got a turd in your pocket? Like, I'm not an NFL guy. I'm strictly high school and college football. So worked on our
Project?
our party favor today.
Yeah.
The prop. It's getting close to completion, so I'm excited about that. And
I got nothing. I'm gonna keep fucking struggling day to day to sleep and raise this newborn.
tomorrow's
so,
gonna suck for you. So.
but that's all right.
It's worth it.
Yep, she's pretty great.
Been there. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, that's it. Sorry, Tijuana Board of Tourism, but don't go there. I think that's all we got. Hydrate. Change your sock.
Yeah. Check us out on all of our socials. You can find us on X, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. Geek Battalion Vets, Geek BN Vets, actually. That's Geek Bravo November Vets at all of those different locations. You can also find our merch. Well, tell us about our merch.
And we got merch available on geekbattalionvets.threadless.com. We've got designs inspired by The Mandalorian, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some homage to some other brands like Vans and their off-the-wall logos. We've recently got some Ahsoka style merch if you're interested in looking at that. It's just stickers for now, but if you guys are interested in more, let me know. Yeah, so check that out. It helps support the show and, spread the word about the show. So
Yeah. So the next time I think we will join you, we might have something special for you. We're going to try. We're going to see if we can do a in the field podcast. We'll see what happens. Might be a dumpster fire and we'll abandon all hope, but we're going to try to link up with some veterans organizations and see if we can take this bitch mobile.
Yeah, well, yeah. And finally, for questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hi, you can hit us up at our Gmail, and you can call me a cunt at Geek Battalion Vets. That's all spelled out.
Somebody just send Jimmy something to say hi.
Yeah.
I think he needs,
somebody be nice.
he needs a hug.
Yeah,
Come
Geek
on.
Battalion Vets at gmail.com. All right, I've been Jimmy.
I'm still B.
I'm Duncan.
All right, we are out.
Too ugly.